bit of a deja vu to last time. I'm out doing some wildlife photography, got my camera over there, but I found a load of crab apples. I've piled up a load over here, and I think what I'm going to do is try and find a recipe that I can do something with these. I'm sure there's like some sort of jam that you can do with these. Still got a load of sloes from last time, so I'm going to head into the woods, see if I can find any deer, and then we'll do something with those. I had a bit of a look around online when I got home, and it seems like everything is pointing towards crab apple jelly, which I think is something that goes onto cooked meats. I imagine it's quite good with pork, and it looks quite simple to make. And by the looks of it, you just chuck the crab apples in a pan, just about cover it with water, and then boil that down for a little bit, and then you have to strain it out, then you mix that with sugar. So it's pretty similar to what you do with it if you're making jam or other kinds of fruit jam, because we were actually making a batch before. My mum had a different type of crab apple. They were red. I'll show you them now and show you the difference. And we just boiled them down, and we've already done the next step with those. So I'll show you what we're going to do, and then I'll have a go at doing it. I'm not that good at this kind of thing, but we'll work it out as we go along. Here's the two different types of apple. These are what I picked in the woods before. They're green, and they've got quite a lot more marks on them. Like, they just don't look quite as appealing. Whereas the ones that my mum had, they're more red, and they've got less marks on. There's like a few there, but I'm not sure if they'll taste that much different, but I'm going to use the green ones. So first thing we're going to do is give them a quick wash. The recipe says that you don't have to do anything to them, but I think it might look nicer if I cut these open, and then it'll look better when they're in the pan. So I'm just going to go through with a little knife and probably just cut those in half. And then we'll get like a bit of a contrasting colour. So I'm going to go through all those, and then the next step is, once we've boiled them up, we're going to have to sieve them. So we just got this muslin cloth here. That's what the apples looked like after they've been boiled up. It's sort of just like a paste now. And these ones are really red because it's them red apples. It looks a bit more like tomato. But once you've done that, you get that clear liquid in the bottom, and that's what you mix with the sugar. You could do this step on a chopping board. I know that some of you are going to whinge that I'm going to cut my thumb off, but I used to work as a butcher, and you only cut yourself so many times before you realise it's a bad thing to do. So it should be okay. The recipe says that you need to just about cover the apples with water. I think I'm going to leave them ones out and chuck them back in that other pile, because this is pretty full now. So we'll fill this up and chuck it on the heat. Okay, we're almost up to a boil now. It's a bit too hot now. Maybe I needed a bigger pan. Oh god. So the good news is it's going mushy. The bad news is that pan wasn't big enough. So I had a quick rearrange and took out all that red stuff out of this pan. So we're just going to boil this down. You can see it's going already. So once it feels soft enough, I'm going to use a potato masher to just smash it down even more. And then we pour it through that cloth. Second problem is, this is the pot that I was going to strain it into. I'll work that out. You can watch this boil. Also said you don't want to overboil this, because it boils out the pectin, which apparently is a bad thing. So we'll mash this up now and see how it looks. The new plan is to pour it out of that big pan into this one and maybe this one, just in case it doesn't fit into there. Then I'm going to have to clean that big pan and then we're going to pour it through this. This could go terribly. Okay, all fits into one. That looks terrible. Did you get spotted? I got spotted. And then in theory, it should be dripping out the bottom. Yeah, that's coming through. And it should be a clear liquid when it comes out. This is going to take quite a while. That's why I wanted to get it done tonight, because it'll probably take until tomorrow. The recipe said that if you squeeze it through, the liquid will go cloudy. Or if you leave it for like gravity to do it, it should be clear. I don't think I really care what it looks like in the end, as long as it tastes alright. So I imagine I'll probably press that through, because I'm quite impatient. But it looks nicer in the bottom pan than it does in there, which doesn't take much. But that didn't go quite as smoothly as I had in my head. I guess if you're doing this, you want to leave more of a gap in the boiling pan. And yeah, just be careful, because it's really hot and that's splattered in it. Most of it went on my clothes, so that doesn't really matter, but that could go wrong. But just going to leave this until tomorrow now, and we'll see what it looks like then. It's the next day now, and most of it is strained through. You can see how it's come away from the sides there. I think this would have been better if it was higher up, then, I don't know, maybe more would come through. I don't really know. You can probably tell that I'm making this up as I go along. But underneath there, you can see all the liquid that's come out. So I'm going to pour that into a measuring jug and see how much we've got. Apparently we need 450 grams of sugar for every 600 millilitres. So we'll try and pour this in here without getting it everywhere. So we've got 700, so I don't know, we'll stick in like half a kilo of sugar. Maybe that'll be alright. Just got this simmering away now, and it's starting to thicken up. So I think we're almost ready to test if it's ready. It looks a lot like jelly on the spoon, but apparently if you put this in the fridge and let it cool down, it should wrinkle when you move it, I think. Don't really know. We'll find out. It's been in the fridge for a few minutes. It's set up more now. When you rub your finger through it. That's like little clumps of jelly there, isn't it? I'm going to call that done. So I've got all the jars out of the oven. They're really hot. I'm going to put the jam stuff here. Then I've had this cup in the oven as well. So I'm going to use that to scoop out the jam, pour it into this, then we'll put the caps on. Just got all the caps here, just screw them on. It's going to be kind of difficult to show you because this is like stupidly hot and these are hot. So not sure how well you can see this, but I've just got this in an oven mitt, and I found it's better to actually put the mug onto the jar. And then one of these pretty much fills that jar up. screw these on. So we'll let this set, and it's actually looking pretty good. So we've got everything jarred up now. It's boiled down to 5 of these little jars, but it looks kind of cool actually. Don't know if you can see that very well in that. It's not like a perfectly clear liquid, so maybe I could have squeezed more out of what was in that top pan before, but I quite like that it's not perfect, because it's homemade, so it's not going to be. But I've got them 5 there, and I put a little bit into this little jar just because they're sealed up and they'll last a lot longer. But we can taste this now, and it's set now, so we'll give this a taste. It's just got the consistency of jam. It's just like gelatin, and that's pretty good actually. It's a little bit sour. It's sort of drying your mouth out like the sloes did. We did sloe gin last time, but it's got just enough sweetness. I'm glad I didn't put more sugar in. That would go really well with something like pork maybe. I guess you could put it on toast, but it feels more like a savoury thing though. But I think we're going to be seeing more things like this on this channel. This is something that I do anyway, and it sort of goes hand in hand with the photography, and it's sort of the reason that I like going out and about, because I've always done this kind of thing. And like you can see behind me, we've got, this is the one that we had in the pan before. This is that hedgerow jelly. That's got elderberries, blackberries, rose hips, hawthorn berries, and sloes, and maybe some other stuff that we had in the freezer. We just chucked it all in there and did basically the same thing, and the only thing that we had to pay for was the sugar. That one looks a little bit thinner than what I've done. There seems to be like different levels of pectin in the fruit, so some of them you have to add it, I think. I'm not really an expert, as you can probably tell. I just like to make stuff, and I like when you're like going through the woods and you see something and you know what it is. It's like when I'm out on the fells, I like knowing what I'm looking at without looking at an app. I just like to have it in my head. I don't know, it sort of comes in handy sometimes. And then this one, we've got spiced sloe and apple jelly. So that's the sloes that we used for the sloe gin in the last video. And that was just normal apples. I guess you could use the crab apples that we did for this recipe. I guess you could also use just normal apples to make this with. So you can make that any time of the year. But I'm just trying to do it with 3 things because it's a little bit more fun that way. And then we've got the sloe gin that we made in the last video. I've got that batch from the year before, and this bit's going to make me look like an alcoholic, but these are all the empty bottles from previous projects. So we've had the sloe gin like we've done over there, we've done apple and blackberry, and we've done elderberry gin. Found that you can mix these, like do the same recipe with gin as you do with vodka and vice versa, so that's quite fun. It gets quite expensive when you're doing it with the vodka and the gin though, because it's sort of £15 a time. But when you're doing it with the fruit, we've just paid for the sugar, and that's a lot cheaper. It's probably £1 for all of this stuff, maybe £2. You don't need any fancy sugar. But I hope you liked the video. Leave any suggestions down below, and I'll see you next time.